It's showtime. What's
Show
going on,
up.
everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host.
Mikey Fever. It's showtime.
And this is a New Yorker's Perspective, our live. And we got the gods on. We got the god Sharif on. We got the god Sunez Allah on. Now, these two brothers, I would say, are qualified to represent the schools of thought they come from. Still in all, the culture is Islam. So that's the commonality. That's the commonality. That's the commonality. So, I want to just go over some things. Brother Sharif, for those who don't know, from Syracuse, Moorish Science Temple of America. And can you explain your position in the Moorish Science Temple of America?
Sure. I'm the Grand Sheik of the local temple of Branch Temple number 11, Syracuse, New York, sponsored by Subordinate Temple number 11 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Grand Sheik of that temple is also the Assistant Grand Sheik of the organization. His name is Brother A. Hopkins Bey. My leadership, the national head of the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated, is Brother R. Jones Bey. I also serve as the national press secretary for the organization.
That's peace. That's peace. And Sunez Allah, can you break down your history and your, I would say, position in the 5% Nation?
Yeah. My name is Sunez Allah. I'm as anyone else. I'm a poor righteous teacher. I sacrifice what I have to share all I can that I learned. If I could say things I've done in a nation, I mean, I've done publications, I've done a lot of stuff, but probably the thing that people think about most is I've taught at a law school in Mecca, my own course called the Peace Course since 2001. 2000 actually, April 2000. So this month marked
anniversary,
the 24th, the beginning of the 25th year. So no one has taught at a law school in Mecca that long contiguously, you know what I mean? Without breaking. So, all that means though is that all of the great things that everybody taught me, I continuously shared them, And, I like to preface this though, because this is about a unity thing, and I say like, this is not something, look, when you asked me to be on the show, unity between me personally and any Moors, that I'm like the last person to do that. If I take in my experiences in Mecca, Harlem, and mind you, take note that it's not just me being as a 5%er, but me being Puerto Rican too. That in a lot of parts of Harlem, though, people are looking at me and being angry like I'm the gentrifier when I'm not. But they can't really lash out at the gentrifier. And plus the experiences I've had with Moors were youth, people being young, not knowing stuff, telling me I'm not original, and I don't know what they mean by that. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Doing things to contrast and stuff. So when you look at it from an older perspective, right? You said we were level-headed. This is things of youth where they didn't know what they was doing. Whereas when I came there as in my near mid-20s to learn immediately. So I always had a different maturity and was taught a little differently. I was taught to represent the school, not just myself as a 5%er. So even my role as a 5%er is a little bit different than other 5%ers. You know what I mean? So, and I say that because when I see Sharif, I know of Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Because I do Kung Fu. And when I was young I started when I got knowledge. So I was young doing elephant, doing the animal techniques, and I was with Knowledge Eternal. That's my big brother Sihing.
All right, no doubt.
So when he would take us to learn different martial artists, I met you, but I was just quiet. I did the knowledge because I'm not even close to, like, I'm just a baby.
Yes, sir.
I'm a baby in the martial arts, so I'm doing the knowledge, and I'm like, man, this guy got his legs, his trunk, like his arms, his legs, like they as big as his legs. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, so it always kept the balance though, because I was like, yo, do the people that you meet represent what those people are? We know that can't be true all the time because look at Christianity. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We got the 85, the ones who don't know. You got the bloodsuckers. You got, so all under a doctrine that we don't bear witness to.
Right.
but we don't go around judging them if they have a cross. I mean, if we did that, though, we'd be laying the law down. Like we'd be having to smack a lot of people. But wherever you take the conversation, I'll tell you that, you know, Sharif, you're a person that is an honor to build with you. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's likewise, brother. I've heard your name too, so that's peace. That's beautiful, brother. You know, and what you said, I agree with 100%. You know, human weakness is found everywhere. You know, and whether it's I remember being a young half a hot shot getting 120 lessons. You know. And couldn't tell me nothing. I wanted to, man, I'm gunslinging everywhere. You know, and in any school of thought, you have the same thing, especially when it comes to our people who've been disenfranchised socially, economically, spiritually for so long. You get a little inkling of an idea that you got some power. We want to try it out on everybody. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and especially in the Moorish Science symbol of America as well, where, you know, we're taught, well, the impression is given, right? When we talk about the whole black issue, or I'm not black. And then we start doing the compare contrast, which is part of European psychology. So you know what I end up doing? I say, well, I'm not black, like Ron, like Mikey. So now we other ourselves even more when the whole objective is the uniting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. And the objective is to bring our people together, not further divide us. So what do we end up doing? Gangbanging.
Yeah.
You know, we end up gangbanging. So it's like, oh, okay, well, you're not a Moor. What you mean? How does a Chinese man become Chinese? You know what I'm saying? How does that happen? Right? Or from the 5% perspective, oh, you're not God, you're not the God, you don't got 120 left. Wait a minute, that's not what student enrollment says. First degree, you know, the first. That's not what that says. You see what I'm saying?
Indeed,
it's supposed to unite us, and what we end up doing a lot of times, because we still are, all of us, to one degree or another, are still infected with the European psychology.
That's for sure.
So they stuck in dogma.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to go on to the questions real, because I know you brothers have limited time.
Peace to knowledge eternal too.
Yeah, peace and knowledge eternal.
Yeah, that's God. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go into this question here. So Islam.
Yes.
Okay. When I say Islam, what's the first thing that comes to mind? I want to start with the god Sunez.
The first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is the acronym that we were always taught: I love Lord and Master. When I got knowledge, though, for those that know, I came from a tradition of being radicalized in college, wanted Puerto Rican independence. These are the kind of radicalization that got me into thinking of my own consciousness, though, right? My Afro blood, indigenous blood, those roots, all of those things. And that consciousness led me into hip hop. As obviously I'm a journalist those years. I started being a journalist I've been a journalist since 1994. So with the lyrics and everything, now I'm going into, wait, what are they saying here? Is this really real, or is this just a braggadocio? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you look at all those things, when I got knowledge of self, being part of an organization was the last thing I had in my mind. I was rejecting them even in the independence movement, even in revolutionary movements, only because I wanted to make my own identity, not be ascribed an identity, you know. And clearly I didn't have knowledge of self. So something in my mind was right to reject that, right? Or just reject saying that this is what I am and only what I am. And so when I hear Islam, I was like, I don't really like all of this language here, all of this Arabic language. What does it all mean? But then when you start to really study the history, the way Islam has been used, that even if you were and this would include me being anti-religious of any kind.
Yes.
That the history of Islam, in all of its orthodox, unorthodox sects that you could find, from the Sufic orders to the Moors, it has always held a tradition of science, mathematics, and a more intelligent way. So it's a wonderful framework to share this knowledge. So we said, listen, This thing got nothing to do with Islam, that religion. It got nothing to do with the words Allah, nothing to do with this. That's a perfect framework to share this knowledge, you know. And I always found it that way to be so. And history, this is not really like, you know, those that know, like, this is not really me just putting it together like that. This is really pretty much a fact, you know. The amount of higher civilizations that were using Islam in a deeper fashion to share a spiritual way for dealing with things logically and realistically comes through that tradition. So that's why I don't have a problem, and I don't feel a way of saying Allah school in Mecca, Sunez Allah, I deal with Islam, you know what I mean? I don't feel that kind of way, because to me, the way I see it is that these are the way we use it scientifically. These are the peaks of it, not the religious way. Those are the lesser levels of it, you know? And yeah, that sounds a little disrespectful, you know, to other Orthodox Muslims and things like that. But that's just what it is, you know. These are the deeper truths that come out of it. So I see. So I always stick to the acronym that, you know, that the older gods, that firstborn prince and all of them taught me was I self, Lord, and Master. You know, our way of our self-empowerment, just like when we learn Kung Fu, right, Sharif? Like, they teach you in the Chinese Kung Fu, you're not, unlike the prana in when you deal with the yogis, the air doesn't have the chi, you have the chi in the Chinese Qi Kung. So you're using the air and the breath as a conduit to get your own chi. It's not somebody else giving you the chi.
Brother,
you know? So
I'm so happy you said that. That's exactly, a lot of people don't know that.
Right. Yeah. So other systems see it differently. Like the yogis, they see that the prana has energy. Now we don't see that the air doesn't have energy. There's energy everywhere, but the focus is like, yo, it's all within us. Though
that's fact.
That major core that we're trying to develop is within us, and that's how I always saw Islam. You know,
that's a fact. I like that. Listen, I can't disagree. There's a reason though. I cannot disagree with anything our brother just said. Even with the wording he said about you know, regarding religion. But the reason why I say I can't disagree is because I understand what he means, right? You know, we have a saying, you know, with the 5%ers, you know, make your understanding understood, right? In the Moorish Science Symbol of America, we have a saying, be not like the horse and the mule between whom there's no understanding. In other words, they just look alike. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So a lot of times we're saying the same words, but we mean a different idea.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when we can come to the same idea, now we have understanding.
Right.
Exactly. So when we say religion in the Moorish Science Symbol of America, we're not talking about the secularized idea that the European gave us. In other words, European, you know, religion is a hobby. It's something I do every Sunday or every Friday or every Saturday. You know, or it's something I go and give something of myself to something outside of myself. No. See, this is so I respect when you have certain atheists. You have other people, like even brothers in the 5% nation, that are like, nah, I don't deal with religion. I get it. What they're saying is, I don't deal with that idea. You see what I'm saying? So, like, with us, how do we see religion? We see religion as the action in pursuit of our ideal of self. There we go. Our action in pursuit of our ideal of self. We said man and Allah are one. Man is God. But I still got trouble paying my bills. I still got trouble with my relationship. I still have trouble with so many basic, earthly, mundane things. So what does that imply? That there is a lack of self-knowledge. So my religion is in pursuit of my own godhood. You see what I'm saying? That's my religion. My religion is how I act out who I truly am, and I recognize that I still got work on myself.
Okay.
See, so religion to us, like in the Enlightenment, culture is our God, right? That's our religion. Religion is our culture. how we live our life.
All right, so I want to ask a quick question. The question of Islam. So I'm posing a question of Islam and how you see it, Sharif.
Islam is like the Arabic word Islam has a root, 3 letters. Many Arabic words have a 3 or 4 letter root or a 3-letter root word. So the same root for Islam is the same root for salam, the same root for Muslim or Muslim, right? It's the letters Sin, Lam, and Mim, right? And so the commonality, the general commonality between all those is the word peace.
Yeah.
Right? But Sin, Lam, Mim implies peace, yes, but it's a mathematical peace. Literally. The word Sin, or the root word Sin, Lam, and Mim imply oneness. It implies unity. It implies the resolution of opposites. You see what I'm saying? Where there's duality, now we've stepped away from it. Where there's unity, now you've arrived. You see what I'm saying? And so the word for me, that's what Islam means. Like I use a Kung Fu analogy. Long time ago, we were at a martial arts demonstration with a number of different schools in Chinatown in Manhattan. You know, and again, we were little young, half a hot shots, knew a little something. And so we're there with my Sifu, watching other schools. And this one guy was performing, and he wasn't that good in another school. So, of course, we're pointing out all the bad stuff. We're pointing out all the bad stuff. We're like, that's wrong, and that's wrong, and that's wrong. Partially because we were proud we could recognize it. The other part was we're trying to impress my Sifu. So he sat there silent the whole time. And then when we finally were done and shut up, he goes, you know what? You guys are right. Out of 100 things that guy did, 99 of them were wrong. We were like, yeah. You know what he said? I'm going to steal the one good thing. And then he peeled off on us, made us look dumb. You see what I'm saying? What he demonstrated was Islamic thinking. We may disagree out of 100 things. We may disagree on 99 things. But we can unite on that one thing and move forward together. That's how I see Islam.
All right.
That's peace right there.
That's deep.
I see that. You know, add on about the religion thing, you know, we have certain words that we use, and this also traps a lot of 5%ers too, because we have to speak to all the human families. And you know what's interesting is that one of my favorite philosophers, I always tell people this, though, I love Jiddu Krishnamurti, you know, and I'm real big on him. And the way that he uses religion is the way that you defined it, because he is very against the orthodox manners and stuff. And also, as an add-on, he uses the word knowledge and information in the opposite ways that we use it. So for him, in his books, if you read them, knowledge means something that is just fleeting. It could be changed like a statistic, whereas information was something that was solid. So it reads the opposite way that we build. Yes. So somebody, if you're being rigid, you'd be like, man, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But if you just read it carefully, right, making the sense though. So
that's deep what you say. I want to give an example of contrast to that. That's deep. So it's like literally we're meeting up and our survival depends on each other, which means we have to find a way to communicate even though we speak 2 different languages. Get it? So
mathematics right there.
In the 5% we say understanding is the best part, right? Understanding is the union of knowledge and wisdom, right? Okay. There's a logic behind those words where you're like, you know what? That makes sense. Father, mother, child, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Get it? You see? There's a logic there. Now, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, chapter 7, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Jesus is asked the question of understanding, what have you to say? And he says, understanding is the rock upon which man builds himself. It is the gnosis of the art and the naught, the knowledge of the lower self and the sensing of the powers of the self. So guess what? So watch this. That idea more fits the 5%er idea of knowledge. It's my starting point. It's the day I wake up and go, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's my day one. You see what I'm saying? It's my day one of change or transformation. But now, if we were just saying the words, we got opposition now. We got static because we're saying the same words, but we don't mean the same thing. Get it? But it's when we can explain what we mean, then it's like, oh, okay. When I'm saying understanding, starting point, you're saying, oh, that's knowledge. To know, look, and observe, respect. You see what I'm saying? To realize, well, reflection is the business of man. A sense of his state is his first duty. Get it? That's knowledge to the 5%. To us, that's understanding. You see? Even though we're using different words, once we explain what's meant, then it's like, okay,
we can build. Right.
Now
That makes sense right there. A lot of sense. Aesthetically, because from the outside, I always say they both have the 7 on the outside, right? And one talks about uplifting humanity, the other group is talking about resurrecting the mentally dead.
There you go.
Right?
And to that point, just to put a cap on that point, right? We know mystically 1 equals 3. You know what I'm saying? When you see the son, you see the father.
Exactly.
When you see the apple, you see the seed.
Right. Knowledge and understanding.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
see it. I see it.
Now I want to ask this question. Now I want to get to where the conflict comes in, right? And that is the first degree in a 1 to 10, right? Let's go into that, right? The black man being God, right? So
Absolutely.
the only conflict that could happen is through the word black.
Yep.
Let me jump on that real quick. Shout out to my good brother, Dr. Wesley Muhammad. That's my guy. We did a lecture back in 2013 in Harlem at the National Black Theater together. People thought it was going to be a debate, but it's not. It was collaborative. And I got the chance to explain black, according to science, means death, right?
Wait, you know what, Brother Sharif? I don't mean to cut you off. Can you hold that thought?
Sure.
Please hold that thought.
thought.
Please hold that thought. Right there.
Gotcha.
Sunez,
Yeah.
from where you come from your perspective, right?
Yeah.
The word black, the Moors, what has been your experience? And how do you see it?
I just want to say it's funny. I just find it funny in the room that the lightest skinned person here is talking about embracing the word black. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm gonna do it. No, I would say this though, like I gotta hear what Sharif says about it. Okay, so it's really not fair to say say it definitively. But it depends where you go, because black doesn't always mean death, though. Black has the perception of death in the language now, but historically it doesn't. I mean, the word chem means black, chemistry. You know what I mean? So the science of all the elements within you, so it depends on how you look at the word. I think, though, we're all, whether we call them religions, right? Or we call them systems, or we call them philosophies.
Yes.
Everyone that is not us, 5%ers or more, they all have to logically see us and properly see us, though, as people coming with answers to spirituality.
Right.
That's what we have done, though. We have answers to spirituality.
I like that.
And to couple that, we are oppressed people. So the use of language, though, is in a warring state. Yes. You know what I mean? Words get changed, they get used correctly, they get used incorrectly. You know what I mean? That's like certain words that weren't wrong, they get wrong. Like, when Prince Power Rule told me that I could be part of his Leftovers crew, that was a weird term until he told me they was calling us that was left over in Bushwick as the leftovers.
Wow.
So we went and made the anti-gentrification collective to go against that. So now we embrace a negative word, leftovers. Right. So like all these words are like that. And I think black in a lot of ways is like that. Obviously, if you look at Black American history in America, the word black has connotations negatively, then it has connotations positively, and all of that. And because I know I get trolls and everything, I speak as someone that has that experience here in America but also from the vantage point of understanding the Puerto Rican perspective and even a brown perspective on a larger scale,
right,
that black is a word that is just denied and kept under wraps.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it is embraced when people dig further in their history. It means something.
Right.
So it depends on how we use it. The experience, obviously, that I said, like, yo, I know who Sharif is. So it always keeps a catch code. Like, I'm not letting like a little kid represent their whole thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's like I don't let the guy that scores 5 points a game represent the NBA for me. You know what I mean?
I like that.
I need the best players. Like if the NBA is good, I'm gonna say it's Curry, Kyrie, right? My man Brunson, right?
Yes,
it ain't the guy that's scoring 5 in the game and it's terrible. You know what I mean? And doesn't belong in the league or isn't gonna be there that long. So the experiences are always with contrast, because I think that when people want to see differences, they want to dominate, and they say, "Oh, look, black is not even the term." And the arguments with Moors that we used to have was like, we never got past that, so it wasn't really an intellectual conversation. You see what I'm saying? We never got past that. And then I'm coming from the vantage point that when people call me a black man, the society doesn't see that. Like all 4 of us, though. Right. A lot of people won't see me as a black man, and I go out there. But when I'm among the 5%, it's common for people to tell me peace, black man.
Right.
And I see myself as that. And I was taught about the black, brown, yellow, and how that term black has the term of the black seed, right? That darkest brother, but also means the engulfing of that whole reality of us. You know, so it becomes almost an umbrella term. Not almost, it is an umbrella term for us.
Right.
And for definitely, you know, if we talk personally, for a person like me, that really means a lot to me. That means a lot to me because it's something that was not cherished. I was taught literally by family, friends, when I was growing up, that you have black in you, but you're not black. So how many people have that paradigm where they tell them like, well, you got the culture of your ancestors in you, but you're not really them. Right. You know, it's like you've got the water, you got the drop of water, but you're not really water. You're not really the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a lot of confusion. You know, and I was building with a Puerto Rican brother where I work at, and we were talking about that. There's a long, you know, there's a long discourse in scholarship, Puerto Rican scholarship, of just the confusion of identity that comes along with that.
Come on.
Magnify that across brown peoples throughout Latin America. Magnify that through black Americans that might be lighter, because there's many black Americans that are as light as me.
That's right.
And have these qualms and have these issues about that. You know, so I can't say how the Moors see it. No, really, I can't, and I won't, because I'm not using some kid on the street to tell me what that's about, or people that used it and was clearly trying to bloodsuck with it and just try to be different and demean people with that. So if they was out there demeaning people with what they thought, you know, then it doesn't really help. You know what I'm saying? But
that's
for
peace,
us as the gods, like, and the earth's like, it's a positive term, it's an umbrella term, and it means a lot to us though when we use it in that way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I want to. This is rich. This is beautiful. Let me just say what I'm about to say might ruffle a little some feathers with people in the Moorish movement. They just might, right? Because what we've come to do in the movement over time is demonize the word. Okay. Now, Prophet Noble Drew Ali didn't demonize the word. He contextualized the word. That's why he made us a very specific qualification. He said black according to science means death. Now, the question now becomes, what science? And Brother Sunez really spoke to it very eloquently, right? We're talking about identity. You see? So, like, for instance, in the quote-unquote Latino community, oh, you got black in you, but you're not black. Oh, what do you mean? So what do we have? We have a question or an issue of identity, right? And so Prophet Drew Ali, by saying black according to science means death. What science? The answer, sociology. how people come together, how people are properly identified as a collective. You get it? He didn't deep. Now, what we do, we took it a step further and demonized the whole word. You see? But Noble Drew Ali also taught that there's a holy ministry in death. He also taught that death is not an enemy to man, but a friend. Then he further just put the lid on it and said, man cannot die. While Allah lives, man cannot die.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! So what are we really saying here? You see? Here we go. Shout out to my brother Wesley again. When we in 2013 were in Harlem and he heard how we gave it up about Black according to science means death. You know what he said publicly? He said, you know what, brother? I never heard it explained that way. As a member of the Nation of Islam, I can agree with you. But then he qualified his statement. This is what he said. Who's the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, follower of civilization, God of the universe. He said, I like what Brother Sharif said about the word black being an adjective and not a noun. Right? So, from the adjective's perspective, and Black according to science means death, it's describing the present condition of the Asiatic man and woman in America. You see? But now to Brother Sunez's point too about the word alchemy. Life springs forth from death.
Yeah.
Mikey last week asked me a powerful question. And that question was, where was God when we were enslaved? In other words, why we have to go through that? The real question is, why did the gods deem it necessary for our people to go through that? Right? Well, and my answer, in short, well, I'll shorten it. My answer was that was prep. When Allah wants to bless a people, He puts them through something. Right? Look at the story of Job. Look at the story of Joseph in the Bible. They all went through a crazy ordeal, but that was preparation. You see what I'm saying? So slavery, in the Holy Quran of Moorish Science of America, make this statement. Jesus, when he went to seek entrance to the school in Heliopolis in Egypt for admission to the secret brotherhood, and they tested him, and he gave answers. He said, your wisdom, I'm quoting the lesson. It says, the Hierophant told Jesus, your wisdom is the wisdom of the gods. Why seek ye wisdom in the halls of men? Right? So, but then later the Hierophant told him, those who would reach the highest heights must reach the greatest depths, and you shall reach the greatest depth. Right? Mike, you know what that is with the third degree. See? So ain't nothing deeper than dead. See what I'm saying? Nothing's deeper than that. So it's an honor. It's not, follow me. It's with that understanding of blackness, it's an honor to be our condition to be described as black. Why? Because we know what's coming after. The whole book of Revelation and the resurrection of the dead is talking about our people in America. See what I'm saying? And what comes next? From dead to godhood, a nation of gods, a nation of gods. You see what I'm saying? That's what's next. That's why all eyes in the world are on us to this day. In as bad a condition we're in now. That's why, because they know what comes next.
Still hold power.
I got another question. I want to interject.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, in that way that you were describing the use of that, it's almost like a completely different concept. Yes, you feel what I'm saying? Like it's not even something that even fits like to, let's say, real battle against, because what you're saying, like I said, in fact, what you're saying has a very strong, and you would know, I know you know this because we do Kung Fu, so we study those philosophies as well.
Yes, sir.
It's very Buddhist in nature. You know what I'm saying? It reminds me of Thich Nhat Hanh's inter-art concept.
Yes, correct.
Right?
Yes.
That whole, it's pretty much the same, like the garbage, the rose in the garbage, like those things,
That's right.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And the concepts are totally different from the way that we use in black. You know what I
Of
mean?
course. Now,
We're using it on a different level.
from a sociological perspective, from sociology, there's a proper way to identify people. See, the way we look at the term black as an identifier is this: somebody's trying to keep us in the grave. Get it? So the whole point of dead is not staying dead. We are the Jesus of 2,000 years ago, our people collectively. And this is the end of the third day in that grave. You see what I'm saying? We're coming up. The mere fact that there are 5%ers, the mere fact that there are Moorish Americans is proof that we got 1 foot out. You see what I'm saying? That we're coming out of the tomb.
I see it. I see what you're saying.
I have a question, right? Can a Moor, to Sharif, can a Moor be a 5%? And to Sunez, can a 5% be a Moor?
Great question. Who are the 5%ers? Poor part of the planet Earth. They're the poor rights teachers, right? You know the rest of the lesson, right? Who are all wise, who teach who the true living God is. Teach the true living God is Son, man, supreme being, black man of age. Who teach what? Freedom, justice, and equality to who? All human families on the planet Earth, otherwise known as civilized people. Also, who? Muslims and Muslim sons, right? There's some Christian preachers that are of the 5%. Yeah, I know a few. Reverend Ike.
I'll say this though, because if you ask
me, hold on, pardon me, just to keep the order, right?
Sure.
Sharif.
Yes, sir.
What I mean is 5% from the 5% nation. 5% nation.
What I say? Yeah, I would say yes. One of the reasons is this, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, because of course I could be wrong, of course. But from my perspective, right? The Moorish Science Symbol of America is a religious organization, but it's also civic and it's also cultural heritage, right? 5% nation, a nation gods and earth, is not a religious organization, nor is it dogmatic. The 5%, the 5%ers are seen and heard everywhere. So that's my short answer. That's my take on it.
I get the answer too. You know, the answer to a person that's in front of me, because listen, throughout the years I've taught hundreds.
Yes.
Is wherever you go, you God. Wherever you go, you earth. And you're going to be in different things and in different organizations, however you be, as long as you're not compromising those requisite things. Are you dealing with a mystery God? You know what I'm saying? Are you not upholding the truth, the basic truth of being a true and living? And those mores and ethics that come along with that, you know, that are logical to all the human families. And so I would say, you could do anything. For me personally, obviously I wouldn't, though. I don't need to do all that.
Right.
But to me, it's being done right now because I'm building with a brother that's qualified. So what I need to learn of that, though, I'm learning. You know what I mean?
You know what I would say too, on top of that too, is, right, at the same time I want to qualify my answer, right? The Nation of Gods and Earths is an association, right? It has its norms. It has its principles. Those have to be respected.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with the word association. You know, like it's not an organization where we have an overarching goal,
right?
The way other people define it, though,
right?
You know, so it basically can spray and be spread out and literally, to the people's eyes, dissolve, and we would be 5%ers everywhere, meaning without building, without home, without anywhere to go, and yet still be able to recombine and build. It's that kind of way. So that's why, like, we could be anything, even if I would disagree with it.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, a lot of, like, some 5%, you know, some 5%, to me, they're all trolls. But if they want to say Sunnis can't be low life, then they don't know that I'm being God in that organization. And that organization has become a hip hop organization and not because of the efforts I've been, but
Mhm.
adding on in those efforts, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
wherever we go, we make everything more righteous, you know what I mean?
Right.
Not less. So we could
Right.
go anywhere, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
I don't know if any.
hearing,
Mhm.
when I'm hearing, no, that's that's
You
what he's doing.
low life, bro.
Indeed.
Shout out to Vic Low. Shout out to
That's right, big bro. That's big
yeah,
bro.
yeah, Big Vic.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man. Thurston now the third.
Yes,
2
sir.
L's. You know what I mean?
Yes,
What's
sir.
up? Peace to the low lives.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to go over this now. The conflict not only comes from the black. We already deaded that pretty much.
Yes.
No pun intended.
Right.
And then we went over Islam. Now spookism.
I was gonna ask that question too.
Let's go into that.
Define spook.
So
Pardon.
now the 5% nation is very particular and analytical when it comes to things, because the practices or the thinking is to make sure the thinking is right and exact, right? So that's why everything is examined, right? When people are speaking or when things are read or etc. Now, from the way I see it, going into Moorish science, where the 5%ers way of thinking,
Mhm.
I examine what Moors are saying in any particular group, cipher, whatever, and I determine whether this person is right and exact or not based on if this person is dealing with spookism or not.
Right.
So now, when it comes to some of the stuff that you say, Sharif,
Yes.
if people are not paying attention to what you're saying,
Correct.
they would think that you're dealing with spookism.
That I'm spooky. I know. Yeah.
I'll go right over their heads.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
pity y'all.
Absolutely. No, I get it. And it's one of the reasons, again, think about what it is we're dealing with our people. We're dealing with our people that are literally out. We're dealing with a people, a collective that are literally out of their minds. What do I mean by their mind, right? When we lost knowledge of self, we lost our collective ancestral memory. That memory is instruction. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Brothers and sisters in, let's say, the country of India, right? That's a good example. They have no idea what that's like because they never lost it. They've always been immersed in their culture, immersed in how their forefathers thought and how they think. You see what I'm saying? They have, as a matter of fact, honestly, there's not a people on the planet that can really, really relate to our condition for that reason. They don't know what it's like being outside of their culture. We don't know what it's like. We're just now, as a 5%er, as a Moorish American, being reintroduced and reacclimatized to our way of thinking. And which means, what are we doing? We're cleaning house. We still have remnants of the foreign thinking. So that being said, right, we were taught that God's a spook. That's what we were taught. And what I mean by taught, socialized. Just like that Indian child is socialized into his own culture going back 5,000 years, 10,000 years, 35,000 years. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Okay. See? So we were socialized, and it's part of your social fabric. So that's what we have to really address. That's why what you said, Brother Ron, is important. We have to be very careful with our words. We have to be very cognizant of who we're speaking to. Shout out to what Brother Sunez said earlier about sometimes he tailors what he says and how he says it depending on who he's talking to. That's wisdom.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And so I'll give this example. When we were doing the prison ministry in Auburn Correctional Facility, right? Everybody in the prison ministry was 5%ers. So this is one of the first questions that came up. Well, wait a minute, right? You all say that we can't see Allah. We say that he's seen and heard everywhere, for he's all I seen. So how do you rectify that? So I said, okay, man is God. Yes, we agree. Allah and man are one. It's easy to say man is God. It's not so easy to answer the question, what is man? You see? And now I'm talking to brothers in prison. So what's the thing that they want more than anything? To get their physical flesh on the other side of that wall. Some of them knew their bodies would never leave. They knew it. You see what I'm saying? So they're faced with that. And they're just like, So guess what that forces them to think about? Am I this? Because if I'm this, I might as well just check out. Right? And so one of the older gods was like, God, when we leave this body, we return back to the essence, God, with that essence. And I said, that's peace. I said, I respect that. But if I say the word spirit, and I'm referring to the very same thing you're referring to, please don't call me spooky. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
It's language.
All right, so let's go into the word spirit. The word spirit, how do you see it, Sunez? I can't hear you. Your mic.
It's a word that has so much confusion. I don't use it too much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm teaching. So if I'm in the classroom and stuff like that, I don't always just say, oh, the spirit and stuff. Well, usually when I mean the energy of a person, like I'm not going to say put some spirit if it's going to cause confusion. But, people go etymologically with it and see where it comes from and all that. And say the spirit means energy and all that.
Breath.
All of that. But if people don't use it that way, I can't really use it effectively. So to me, I'm not really telling people about spirit and nothing like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And mind you, there are words I use that are very difficult. Like my youngest daughter's name is Alma, and that means soul.
That's right.
And yet, part of the reason I named that was because I love soul music. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Big part of the reason that in my writings as a music writer, I've been writing about music for over half my life. Is I've always worked to try to actually put into words and quantify what soul is in our music, because that's a big thing. It's
deep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm writing about music. I should be able to try to work that and try to write what that means in the song. Like people go, if say Tupac is not a great technical MC, but wait, there's some soul there, then that means that the next barrier, the over the top thing, has something to do with soul.
Come on.
You know what I mean? The singer that's great, like what made James Brown singing so good.
Right.
It wasn't because it was a beautiful, sound. Oh, what's the essence in it? So certain words I'm okay with trying to work on them. But whether they're mysterious or not, though, is really how the people will see it, though. Obviously, a person of language and stuff, and a person that writes, I'm a writer and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, I have the ego that I can manipulate the language and explain it to you. And so no word is foreign to me. There's no word I'm not willing to use.
Right.
But as far as dealing with this knowledge and explaining it to somebody, spirit is not a word that really comes up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It
No,
doesn't really come up.
And that's peace. I just you exercising, first of all, the power to manipulate words to get the idea across is masterful. That's it's responsible the way in which you're doing it. Being a martial arts instructor, you have a set curriculum and you got different people with different personalities, different body types, different whatever, and you got to get the same information to different minds. You know what I'm saying? And different bodies in a way that everybody kind of generally gets it, which means you have to see how everybody is thinking individually. You know what I'm saying? So not everybody gets it. They get the same material. They just don't get it exactly the same way. They get it in the way that they best understand at their level, right? So that what you said, I love that, because that's the mark of a master teacher. Now, when you said energy, dope. I start even with my Kung Fu students, right? We'll say energy. They go, okay, energy, right? And then as they become more familiar with the feeling, the direct experience, not just the word, the direct experience, then I get to start asking them some questions. I say, so what does this energy feel like? And they go, I don't understand what you mean. The energy of this technique. I don't understand what you mean, Sifu. No problem. I go in the back, I get a hammer. I put the hammer in their hand. How does that feel? Oh, it's a hammer. Right. Okay. I take it out of the hand. I give them an ice pick. How does that feel? Pay attention to the difference in how you feel when both objects were in your hand. They feel different, don't they? And it's like, yeah. Now, can you verbalize the feeling? The moment they begin to verbalize, then I say, now, here is a law, a universal law. Energy is information. The fact that you could verbalize how the energy feels means you are now reading the information in the energy. I said, now, here's the next one. Here's the next one. This is going to be a little bit of a leap. Energy equals information. The presence of information indicates the presence of intelligence. See?
That's deep.
Yes.
So both like with the whole spooky concept. I see from the 5% teachings as they put Islam as math, I self Lord and Master.
That's right.
Islam's mathematics. I used to say I stimulate life and matter. Right? So
say that too. Yeah.
Yep.
I look at it as they say
more independent source of life and matter.
As they say mathematics is the language, right? Yep. But what's so crazy is that if you go into other cultures, like say you jump into the practice of the Akashic records or Ifa, right. 0 and 1s is mathematics, is numerology, right?
Right.
That coordinates and pinpoints a person's, where you were going in life experience or whatsoever, but it's still mathematics right there. Sure. It still studies the tenets and the principles of mathematics. So sure. Is it safe to say that somehow all these are somehow correlated? Is it safe to say that? Not too much, but I'm just saying.
It's dope. I'm gonna say why, right? Yeah. And I've mentioned this before on an earlier show. First of all, I'm a 110% firm adherent to mathematics is Islam and Islam is mathematics.
Yeah.
In the Moorish Science symbol of miracle, we don't say it that way. We'll say man was fully ordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and the plane of things made manifest. Well, if he's the Lord of these things, that means he has to know. I mean, it's like me being a landlord and I just bought a property. What's the first thing I'm going to do? Go visit, inspect it. You see what I'm saying? I need to know everything about it. That's why actual facts and solar facts make so much sense. If I'm the Lord of the plane of soul and the plane of things made manifest, I need to know my property, right? So, mathematics. There's a European by the name of Ron Eglash. He's a professor of mathematics at Rensselaer Polytechnic College in Troy, New York. He's the one that wrote the book African Fractals. He went over to Mali, to the Dogon tribe, and is like, listen, you need to share your stuff with me because, They were like, no, it's too dangerous, and no, you're not an initiate. Then he said, well, there's a whole contingency of your people in America that want nothing to do with mathematics. And they said, okay, but we got to initiate you first, right? Which they did. Now, to your point, Mikey, and this also demonstrates the brilliance of the father, aka Clarence 13X Smith, right? And, well, okay, anyway, this demonstrates his brilliance with supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet. Here we go. Pythagorean mathematics. We know Pythagoras learned in Egypt, Kemet. Pythagorean mathematics, but what people don't talk about is, well, what makes it so special? Well, in the West, we say mathematics is universal language, yes, but we only talk about it from a quantitative perspective. Quantities. I got 2 of these. I got 10 of these, right? Okay. Well, Pythagorean mathematics, of course, he got from our forefathers. The numbers have both quantitative and qualitative aspects.
Of course.
That is our forefathers thinking. That is what we call old-time religion. You see what I'm saying? So when the Father said 1 is knowledge, 2 is wisdom, 3 is understanding, he's adding qualitative function to the numbers.
And it does definite, and that's just gematria itself right there.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
is there a personality, or when we say quality, we could also interchange that with personality and character. Do the numbers have personality and character? Yes. So here we go. What the doggone priesthood told Ron Eglish. He said the danger of the numbers and you not knowing the qualitative function is that the numbers are living things. That's what they told him. The numbers are living things. So when we say the kum fayakum in Arabic, Allah spoke everything into existence. The power of wisdom. They see that literally. See? They see it literally. That think about it. Sound is what? Audible mathematics, vibration,
Frequencies.
And everything material is just what? Slowed down light. Quantum mechanics has confirmed that already. See what I'm saying?
I see it.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
I have a question about the differences. My educator, Kadir Law, peace, if you see this, he said, when you do this podcast, never compare, contrast Moorish Science and the 5% Nation. That's not what I'm doing at all. However, I do want to say this. Now, I noticed in the literature from the Moorish Science Temple of America,
yes,
it was written or it was given to the people around like 1913, right? 1913. And I noticed the literature, the way it sounds old.
Yes.
It sounds really old. Now, fast forward to the 5% Nation, which came about 1964. Correct me if I'm wrong. 1964, right?
When the Father left Temple Ma 7.
Right.
Well, he left the temple in 63.
63,
that's right.
And the 5% Nation came about 1964.
That's right.
So I'm looking at the time frame, right? The language in 1913 versus the language in 1964.
Yes.
I think that's where the conflict comes in, because the 5% Nation, the way, first of all, we're supposed to teach to a baby, right? We're supposed to teach so that a baby can understand it. So everything's supposed to be simple and plain, right? So that a baby can understand it. And so it's straightforward, right? In Moorish Science, you got to kind of read into it a little bit more. You got to think a little bit more to understand what's said there. You got to probably pick up a dictionary, research, etc. And I think that's the difference, and that's where the conflict comes in between the two schools of thought. Just time and language.
I would disagree with that in a qualified sense, and I'm going to share what I mean by that, right? And I'm speaking to human weakness once again, right? I think that the issues is less. I think it's less the language, honestly. You know what it is? We say in the Moorish Science of America, we say, the fault lies not with truth, for it is amiable, right? The fault lies in man's weakness and inability to bear its splendor. You see? So in other words, if I have this literature, right, it's my duty to eat the book. Many of us in the Moorish Science Temple of America have not eaten the book. We've just been acquainted with it. You understand? So we can't explain it the way so a baby can understand it. You see? So it's not so much as the language, it's our inability to dig deep. Like there's a parable given in the Holy Quran of Moorish Science of America of a toiler. He's a farmer trying to eke out a living on bare, rocky, dry soil. He can barely make anything. And then another man comes along and says, my guy, you're in the wrong business. Instead of toiling or tilling the soil, you need to change occupation. Instead of being a farmer, become a miner. Dig deeper and pull some diamonds up out of there and some gold. And that's what he did. You see what I'm saying? We need more effort. I'm speaking about members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We need to put more effort. We think just because we have the literature a lot of times that we're good. It's just like in martial arts, right? Every martial arts school has specialties. Muay Thai, they have the elbows and the infamous, Muay Thai round kick, right? But what does that do for us as human, our human weakness? We rest on those strengths and we say, because that's the strength of my style, that means it's unbeatable. I do this style, you can't stop my round kick. Yeah, right. Right? The Wing Chun people, we're super efficient, straight line, and we never force against force. It sounds good. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds good. Styles don't do nothing. Styles don't fight, just like books don't fly around and do jobs.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the same thing, man.
See what I'm saying? It's people that fight.
Yeah.
It's people that win or lose fights, not styles.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but we develop a conceit because we're proud of our strengths.
Right.
You get it? And so it's like, so I'm proud. And it becomes a conceit, and that's where we're weak. And that's what's happened in every school.
I could agree with that. However, I want to say this. Brother S. Anderson Bay said the prophet Noble Dryly reportedly, is that what it says? I can't see from here. Reportedly, right? That's what that says, right? Probably. You see it, Mike, right? Reportedly. And if I could get you to think, you could save yourself. So let me say this. So the prophet's focus was to get the Moors to think.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Allah's focus was to get us to teach.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the difference comes in. That's my whole point.
Well, I think our brother Sunez can agree with me. You can't teach if you can't think.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a difference. I just think it's just coming at it different ways and stuff.
Right.
The thing is, though, I say, look, it's the magic of Allah the Father. Like, it's not really a thing against the Moors or anybody else. It's just that in all the things I've ever studied, I've never seen a more simple thing than supreme math.
Right.
All those things complex, put into 10 numerals. Mm-hmm. There's no other system like that. So there's other systems that are amazing, though. Where there's, everybody, there's many 120s. You know what I'm saying? The Dhammapada is like a 120 if you read it like that. You know what I mean? The Tao Te Ching is like a 120. The I Ching was meant to be used as a mathematical tool, and it's mad deep. Like just the cauldron thing blows you away if you just read about the cauldron. And it's like all of these things are used to because like the I Ching, right? You're supposed to pick your mentality, pick the trigrams of your mentality, and then the cipher that you in, and then you analyze. That's crazy? Mad deep.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
but it's still, even though that seems so simple, then it's way more complex than just one is knowledge, two is wisdom. You know what I mean? Think before you speak. Have your own insight, understanding. It's hard to overlap that, and so in other schools, you would have things where people don't understand the doctrine because they haven't had the years in practice with it. Whereas a lot of times with the 5% is because you get people teaching incorrectly because they're teaching swiftly. They could be put out there so fast that they're teaching things that really feel like they know it, though. But they don't know it.
But they don't. Right.
They don't have the understanding. They know it quickly, but they don't have the understanding.
Right.
So, I could say that would be a major difference. But like the supreme math is a special thing, man.
Right.
Because remember, we're almost like a hybrid kind of thing. A lot of this information was already out there, right? If we're saying 120 lessons, but 120 lessons is really the Father repairing, or to me, and I'm gonna say repairing a lot of the things in Supreme Wisdom. But Supreme Wisdom has the same type of format as a Circle 7. So a lot of this stuff already came from the East. That's why I said Islam was that conduit. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. That's fact.
when the Father put the supreme math and alphabet, though, that also comes with the blatant thing. Is like, yo, we're not doing any of this fancy stuff. If you don't know anything, just know the ultimate thing. You're the true and living God. Yo, when you go out there, I know brothers that's in this nation that's truly with this nation.
Mm-hmm.
And they're true and living gods, right?
Yes.
But they acknowledge and man, over the years, they done forgot 120. And they just remember, yo, I'm the God. There's no mystery, man. So when they think of ideas, they're like, nah, we can't put the 2 before the 1, you know. You know, like simple things with the math, and they live in a very powerful life just with those little principles in there. And teaching all these years, not everybody becomes a 5%er though. It's like that whole thing, like when you teach in martial arts, though, like there's a small percentage that really become martial artists in their daily life.
Ain't that something?
If we went with the percentages, though, we would be mad low. Like I wouldn't even be a bad baseball hitter. Like it's terrible.
Right.
So like when we giving this out, we're giving it out to the human family so they could better themselves with the pieces of it. Whatever pieces you could take, see what you take. And most people's living like some principles of supreme mathematics, but they're not really getting this knowledge like that, you know. And when one of the major pinnacles of it is to go out there and say, listen, there's no mystery God, and tell people in a pose. And who's ready for that?
Right.
You know, a lot of people they're not ready to be saying things and going out there and saying, listen, we don't agree with this the way this is. Nah, a lot of people take the spiritual knowledge, not just from the 5%, but from the Moors or anything. They usually take it to navigate, make my life easier. People's quest for the spiritual identity is really just a salvation quest, not really a spiritual. You know,
now that's deep what you just said. Now, wow, see what you just said. That's so powerful. We would say they're one and the same. Like when we talk about,
they should be, right?
Yes,
it should be.
Prophet talks about saving power, right?
Right.
That's a spiritual thing, but it's to make your personal life better.
Because I say this, right, Sharif?
Yeah.
I've been teaching, it's 24 years at the school, man. So I can't pick who I'm teaching. You come in, I'm gonna see if you know.
Right.
Most people stopping at the 5% as like the last stop. I done tried all these religions. I'm not saying I did them right, but they didn't work for me. What y'all got? And now I gotta be like a magician.
Exactly.
You know? Supreme math is gonna be like some spell book that's gonna, you know, save them. It ain't like that. But most people that's dealing with things, they don't really love knowledge. They just want the knowledge that's gonna save them. And listen, that's it. Because what they find out, even people that become very smart, they have a stopping point too, because they find out like, yo, with the more that I learn, the more that I have to keep changing stuff and adjusting. And not, oh man, I can't do that. Like, just look at the way people's diets though. They might get rid of foods, be like, man, I gotta keep, man.
Yo, bro, you bring up a huge, that is a huge point. That actually, you just segued right into the point I wanted to make. And so, Brother Ron, for me, again, the real issue here isn't really the structure of either organization or the structure of the doctrine or whatever. It's human weakness. What is human weakness? The weakness of humanity is to always seek the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That's the weakness right there. So what happens, like, for instance, I know coming up in the 5% nation, man, listen, you say, man is God. My weakness says, man, game over. I'm good. I ain't got to do nothing. I'm God. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So, but that's my human weakness speaking. You get it? Moorish Science, Temple of America, you're not Negro, Black, and Colored. You're, man is not the body, the soul, man, spirit, and part of Allah. Man and Allah are one. What? What? I can just put this fez on and what? I'm good. I ain't got to do nothing. No. You see what I'm saying? That's human weakness. And
you know what's interesting? I'm sorry. No, please.
No, go.
You know what's interesting? You say that, and I say that because you're a martial artist, right?
Yes, sir.
And we do this kung fu.
Yes.
And the thing about human weakness too is that the beauty of the martial arts too, especially kung fu, man, is that we're being taught to use that weakness because we're taught the path of least resistance is the best way to fight, right? So we're going for that center line.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're not economy of motion, all of that. So it's almost like this balance that we're trying to share with humanity, these teachings and stuff. You know what I mean?
Think about what you said. So, like, think about training, fight training. Ron, you understand this being a martial artist as well. If you're training for a fight, fighting is not concerned with process. Fighting is only concerned with result. I could train for 30 years. You come at me and there's a brick next to me, you getting hit with the brick.
Hey, Mike, you heard that, right?
Yeah.
You
heard that, right?
Yeah.
Fighting is fighting. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, we'll discuss methods later, but you come at me and there's a brick next to me, you get hit with the brick. Now,
we said that earlier.
Training is concerned with process. So ideally, if I'm training to fight, I want my training to be at least 3 times more difficult than the actual fight itself. You see what I'm saying? So to Brother Sunez's point, in combat, that's the ops. I'm taking advantage of him. So yeah, path of least resistance. Right. Exactly. But for my training, I need all gaps filled.
Right.
See that?
And see, that's the thing, though. Do people go for the end result of things? But in the spiritual matters, it ain't about the end result.
Correct.
Because we're constantly being, so we're never ending.
Yes, don't say spiritual.
No. We're constantly being. Listen, when I teach, listen, that one word that got me to start teaching my own understanding.
Yes.
Was when some gods and I disagree with them in my mind. I didn't say anything. I just did the knowledge.
Right.
They were saying that we're not perfect. The Father is perfect. And I was like, nah, if he was there, he would have said now Cypher, because the babies are the greatest, the young, the future. Right. And I started to say that I started to teach perfection. I should say perfection is constant elevation at an ever increasing rate. And it's not a linear rate, it's a circular rate. It gets deeper and deeper. But that means that
hold on. Can I
it's not where you it's not where you go.
On him.
Word is bond, Sharif.
Don't say that. You're gonna be out arguing from the school.
Well, know that this has been what I've been teaching. Exactly what we say. I've been teaching this since 2000 when I started. It was because I was like, yo, firstborn prince is here, everybody's here. What am I offering? And it was like this idea of never ending. So if we're never ending, we're always building, because we're a being, we're forever being, we're supreme being. That means that we always got to be adding on something. And so something is always needing repair. Yes. So, but people don't get this in the spiritual matter. They want the end game note. They want the heaven. They want to get to the heaven and be finished. Even with other religions, they get co-opted where you get like, oh, we'll be to the nirvana. We'll be in the enlightenment. They want to get to it. But the more you study the Eastern religion philosophies, that enlightenment thing isn't like a magic box that you step into.
It's not that at all.
You know, that's you getting fooled with that. That's not like, oh, I reached enlightenment, so I'm finished. That ain't
it's not how it works. Exactly.
But if you're not really versed, you're like, wow, I'm gonna study this Buddhism and hopefully I just get to the enlightenment and I'll be done.
Nah.
That ain't how
even Buddha himself. When he reached Nirvana, you know the story. You reach Nirvana, and they say, "Yeah, get your behind back down under that Bodhi tree, man."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's never really done, because you're not done. You know,
come on, bro.
So what's perfect is already done. Like, you know, the perfect album. You know what I'm saying? Right? Anita Baker album. That's perfect. It's finished already. You know what I mean?
What you just said, brother. We say the same thing. We may use a slightly different language, but exactly that. Perfection is a process, and man in flesh is a process.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Be in that process.
It's don't that say it? After you study thyself, go back and study self.
Right. These teachings that we have is to get us into that process.
Come on.
To be comfortable always in that process.
Come on.
You know?
Right. But now watch this. You hear what he just said? But the process itself is not comfortable.
Yeah, no.
It's not comfortable.
That's why the knowledge wisdom letter, love hell or right.
Love hell or right.
You got to be comfortable in that hell. I always tell people there's no hell. The hell is the work that you put in. That's the work.
And this goes back to the first question Ron asked about Islam and the word peace. That's what true peace is. It's not me sitting on a lake, on a quiet lake at 5 a.m. with the mist on it. No. Peace is thunder, volcanoes, animals stampeding, and in the middle of that all, you got a bird and a mother bird feeding the babies in the midst of all that chaos. Can you hold the center when all hell is breaking loose? That's peace.
That's right.
See?
I see it.
Can you hold the center?
Older gods always told us, right? Peace is the absence of confusion.
Yes, sir.
So we're given a negative definition to it. But to me, it's positive because that means we always got to be working to rid the confusion.
That's right.
It's like, yo, it's gonna build up. You've got to bathe. You got to bathe, constantly bathe. You know, it's real. It's real. You know what I mean? Word is bond.
Well, I want to conclude, and I got another interview coming up. You brothers, man, this was for me. This is historic. This is a historic.
Speak to me, man. I always wanted to build with you, Sharif. You know what I mean?
Likewise.
Yeah, man.
Likewise.
It was beautiful. I love it.
That's peace. That's peace.
Yeah,
Great understanding. That's it.
But you know what, too? It was good for the viewers.
Actual fact.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Would you brothers like to come back up and build again?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
You kidding?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the honor. That's the honor.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. We're out of here. Thanks for tuning in to the show.
Peace, yo.
Next week live Monday and Wednesday. Peace.
Peace.
Let's get on.